Welcome to my presentation of Chapter 6 Sensory Principle for Touch. So, the sense of touch is one of the most fundamental sensory systems, playing a crucial role in how individuals interact with their environment and make decisions, particularly in the context of sensory marketing. This chapter will explore the characteristic of touch and its importance in various societal cultures. It will delve into how tactile stimuli can be used to enhance consumer experiences, influence brand perception, and improve customer engagement in the service environment. So now first let's find out about touch. Touch is a vital sense that shapes how people experience products and brands, influencing perception, emotion, and purchase decision. In tactile marketing, physical interaction like trying an iPad or Apple device in store builds connection, confidence, and brand loyalty. Touch works closely with vision, helping customer access quality and make buying choices, often boosting impulse purchase. And it's also affect social interaction. For example, you holding a warm cup, a very comfortable warm cup, or a light touch of an employee in a store might create positive feeling of you towards the store that you are standing in. However, digital shopping would lack this sensory element, making product evaluation harder and reducing purchase confidence. Bridging this gap would remain a challenge for online retail. And now move on to the characteristics of touch. First is the psychological, the sense of touch, and the haptic system. So the haptic system will be discussed later. Now, first, the sense of touch is essential for how we explore and interact with the world through skin contact, using our hands, our feet, our body part, anywhere that we have skin. We can detect qualities like temperature, texture, wave, and shape, something tangible like that. This feedback would help us understand how surroundings and influences our thought, emotions, and behavior. Touch is one of the earliest sense to develop, beginning in the womb. The skin, which is our largest organ, contains specialized receptors such as the Merkel disc and the Meissner's corpuscles. You can see right here that send tactile information towards the brain, and sensitivity would varies across the body. For example, the fingertips are far more sensitive than the areas like the back. Due to higher receptor density, which is there's a lot of neurons in that. And the haptic system combines tactile sensation with proprioception, the awareness of body precision and the movement from muscle and joints. This integration allows us to grasp, manipulate, and evaluate object, from feeling a fabric's softness to judging a device weight. An active touch would involve intentional exploration, such as you actively pick up and examining a product, often increasing brand attachment through the sense of ownership. And the passive touch, when you are touched or you come into contact without your initial intent, it might trigger feelings of comfort and trust, shaping emotional connection with people or friends. Of course, it depends. It's a tricky field, so we discuss later. And in marketing and service environment, touch enhances product evaluation and customer satisfaction, allowing customers to feel materials, test products, and interact physically with items that can create stronger emotional bonds, communicate quality, and influence purchasing decision, especially for tactile-driven product like clothing, furniture, and technology. Move on to the psychological aspect of touch. So, the sense of touch holds significant psychological importance, influencing both cognition and emotional well being. From the early childhood, individuals begin developing a deeper understanding of their environment through the tactile experience, which shape how we perceive and interact with the world. This sense is fundamental not only to our understanding of objects but also to our emotional and cognitive development. It's believed that empathy can be communicated and expressed through tactile sensation, which is why physical touch play an essential role in human interaction, human relationship, and emotional bonding. Furthermore, physical touch in service contexts, such as in healthcare, beauty treatments, or massage therapy, has been shown to significantly affect an individual's satisfaction and overall well being. Professionals such as doctors, hairdressers, and massage therapists utilize touch to induce relaxation, alleviate stress, and improve the client's emotional state. About tactile recognition and memory, touch plays a key role in recognizing and categorizing products, and tactile attributes such as texture, temperature, wave, such help consumer identify brands even without visual cues. A product's feel, whether soft, rough, smooth, or firm, can become a lasting brand make marker. And tactile sensations are stored as the memories that shape preferences and perception of quality. For example, the softness of a plush toy, the heft of a luxury watch, or the grip of the premium smartphone can influence brand perception of you towards the product. And these associations persist over time and guide future choices, like choosing a tennis ball that feels familiar, feel right without consciously recalling why. For marketers, designing a memorable tactile experience can strengthen emotional bonds and increasing perceived value, allowing customers to handle product, especially in categories like luxury good, furniture, or fashion, enhance satisfaction and reinforce brand identity. In short, touch not only identifies and categorizes product but also builds brand loyalty. Leveraging these psychological impact of touch can make brand experiences more engaging, memorable, and emotionally resonant. Now we talk about the hedonic and instrumental touch in consumer behavior. The touch influence how consumer evaluate the product, and it falls into two main types: the hedonic touch, driven by sensory enjoyment and curiosity with no specific goals. Shopper would explore texture, wave, or feel of pleasure, forming positive emotional connection. This can shape future purchase decision even without immediate buying intent at that moment. And the instrumental touch is the goal oriented and functional, used to assess product qualities like softness, wave, or firmness. It provides practical information for decision making, and is strongly linked to purchase likelihood, like they are exploring the purchase to buy now, especially for product that contact with the skin. And the integration of these two is that hedonic touch would build emotional attachment, while instrumental touch confirms functionality. Combined, they make a experience more memorable and persuasive. For example, a shopper might first enjoy the texture of a shoe, which is hedonic, then check comfort and they feel it is fit with its instrumental before buying. The marketing inside it does, store can design spaces to encourage both of those. Luxury retailer use hedonic touch to create sensory rich environment while allowing instrument touch to verify quality. Strategic product placement can emphasize exploration in some area and functional testing in others areas. Now, moving on to the tactile perception. It is the process of receiving and interpreting information through touch, whether from people, we can call this personal touch, or some the object with other factors such as texture, temperature, and such. It shapes how we physically engage with the world and influences emotion, relationship, and product experience. Historically, Aristotle viewed touch as the essential for survival, linking it to human reproduction and culture. Now, there are four key dimensions of tactile perception. First, macro and fine roughness. This is overall and detailed texture, affects feel and quality judgment. The next dimension is warmth, which is perceived temperature. It can evoke comfort, for example, the warm wool, or discomfort, for example, the cold metal. The next dimension is hardness, how rigid or soft something feels. It will shape perception of durability and comfort. Depends on what you want, and the final one is friction. This is the wetness or the stickiness, influences satisfaction in products like lotions or lip balm and such. Researchers often group tactile experiences into simple categories such as rough or smooth, or slippery or sticky, which help explain preferences and quality judgment. Now, touch norms vary by culture, the same with other senses. Western society may value a firm handshake, while Eastern ones may prefer less direct contact. These differences affect branding. Japan's luxury brand, often use soft, delicate texture to convey elegance, while U.S. brands may emphasize richness or warmth. It all be studied through how they interact, and they have that lesson to implicate. And for brands and services, creating touch experience in retail is advisable. Like They incorporate tactile experience to service environment, can enhance customer engagement and satisfaction. Retail environment can be designed to invite touch, like furniture stores may allow customers to test the comfort of sofas first, while cosmetic stores might encourage customers to touch and feel skincare product before they buy. And the product development and design is also one field to implicate. Understanding how tactile perception influence consumer preferences can help in the design of the product that are comfortable, pleasing, and functional. For example, textiles in fashion and interior design are often chosen for their tactile qualities, which directly affect how customers engage with them. And finally, is the revamp on the service context. For service industry, tactile perception plays a significant role in shaping customer experience. For instance, a hotel might design its interiors with plush fabrics and soft linens, or the spa could offer calming texture through ropes, silky ropes and towels to enhance relaxation. And similarly, restaurants can influence the dining experience by selecting flatware, table linen, chair covers, or even the menu textures that complement the dining atmosphere. So, move on to the individual preference in tactile perception. Now, tactile perception, the sense of touch, is deeply personal and shaped by context, preferences, and past experience. Then we can look at the key term, which is the need for touch. The need for touch describes how strongly someone seek physical contact when evaluating the product. With high need for touch, these consumer value hands-on exploration to judge texture, material, comfort, and quality. Inability to touch may cause them frustration. For example, a shopper may want to feel a sofa fabric before buying it. Online won't work with her. So we may offer interactive display, product samples, for things that is not furniture, like cosmetics, and opportunities for them to test the materials. And for the low need for touch ones, they prefer to rely on visuals, specs, and reviews. For example, someone buying furniture online after checking detailed image and ratings. We may provide detailed descriptions, close-up image, and comprehensive reviews for them to cut the time for they don't need to go to the stores. And the physical contact with product foster familiarity, trust, and positive emotions, boosting purchase intent. And the decision making. In studies, participants allowed to touch items like clothing or electronics showed higher engagement than those restricted to visual observation. Retailers can leverage this by encouraging physical exploration, especially for product where texture or ergonomics matters. And touch also play a role in human interaction within service environment. Appropriate gentle contact, such as a concierge handshake or a librarian brief hand touch when you borrow the book, can signal warmth, care, or attentiveness. In one library study, a subtle touch would increase student satisfaction and positive feelings toward your service. The practical insight we can see is to train our staff in service industry to use culturally appropriate, respectful touch to enhance emotional connection, trust, and loyalty. And tactile perception also influenced by gender differences. Also, women on average have shown greater tactile sensitivity compared to men, especially when it comes to exploring texture and shape. For example, women might be more likely to engage with textiles and clothing in a stores, where men might evaluate this product more visually and cognitively, like, yeah, I'm knitting a shirt and this is the shirt, I'm buying it. These differences are critical for retailers to consider, as the level of touch engagement can significantly influence the shopping experience and ultimately the purchasing decision of a different gender demographic. So for the group preferences, tactile preferences and behavior are deeply influenced by the societal culture and group norms, highlighting the diverse way in which people engage with touch in various social contexts. Touch serves as a symbolic communication tools, conveying not only physical sensation but also deeper emotional values and cultural meaning. The role of it is that touch has long been recognized as a significant form of communication across all cultures. Physical contact between individuals often signifies trust, affection, and human connection. However, there are notable cultural differences in how touch is perceived and expressed. For instance, some cultures, such as those in the Western world, commonly use tech gestures like handshakes and hugs to express greeting, friendship, and trust. But in contrast, other cultures may rely more on non-tactile forms of communication to convey respect and greeting. The importance of tactile contact as a symbol of social belonging and cultural identity cannot be overstated because this is very sensitive. A handshake, a hug, or a pat on the back often signifies friendship, while the absence of touch might indicate distance or formality. In this sense, tactile interactions serve as a social lubricant, fostering positive relationships and creating a sense of belonging within a group. And as highlighted in the examples of handshake, different cultures have vastly different approaches to physical touch. I'll provide some more examples. In Europe, in the US, and Australia, handshake is a common greeting across both genders, symbolizing mutual respect. However, in Asian culture, especially Taiwan and Japan, a handshake might be considered aggressive or impolite in some scenarios, and a bow or a nod is more appropriate as a sign of respect. Similarly, in the Arabian world, physical touch, such as embrace, is a sign of trust and friendship between individuals of the same gender, while touching between a man and a woman can be seen as very inappropriate due to religious and cultural beliefs. This shows how touch is interpreted differently based on cultural context, making cultural awareness essential when engaging with individuals from diverse backgrounds. In service marketing, cultural norms and group preferences regarding tactile interaction can influence customer experience. For example, in hospitality service, employees might tailor their physical interaction with customer based on cultural understanding. In the Western hotels, concierge staff might greet guests with handshake, while in Asian hotels, they just respectfully bow. It will be more appropriate. And in luxury services, understanding when and how to touch customers, such as helping them with luggage or offering a light touch on the arm to guide them, can enhance personalized customer service and contribute to a positive customer experience. Moreover, service environments should be designed to reflect cultural preferences regarding touch. For example, retail environment in the US or Europe may encourage customers to touch and explore products on display, while countries like Japan, hands-off approaches may be favored because I don't know, they don't like touch the things that are touched by a lot of other people, with more emphasis placed on visual stimulation and product information than on tactile interaction. Consumers' tactile preferences can significantly impact purchasing decision in a service or retail setting. Consumers with high need for touch will likely engage more in the physicality of a product, needing to feel or test the product before making a purchase. This is particularly important in fashion, electronics, and furniture store where the texture, weight, and comfort of a product play a significant role in the purchase decision. Understanding those preferences and offering opportunities of tactile engagement in service environment can enhance the overall customer experience. And the implication is clear that the staff need to be trained to culturally sensitive to touch preferences, recognizing when physical touch can enhance or detract from the customer experience. So, um, gender significantly shapes how people experience and respond to touch as well, influencing both product evaluation and interpersonal interaction. So women often shows a higher need of touch, I mentioned before, when evaluating product like clothing or shoes, where texture, comfort, and fit drive purchase decision. This reflect a hedonic approach. Touch is used for sensory enjoyment and emotional connection. Men, in contrast, tends to use touch instrumentally, focusing on functionality, quality, and performance. For example, when testing electronics or tools, they assess durabilities or ease of use rather than sensory pleasure. So the insight is that for women, encourage hands-on exploration in tactile-rich environment, and for men, we may want to highlight functional benefit and quality through touch. Touch is also a channel for expressing emotion, and men and women often differ in how they use it. women are likely to use touch to show empathy, while men may use it to convey assertiveness or even anger in same gender interaction. In a service setting, this can shape staff customer dynamics. Female staff may lean toward nurturing touch when assisting women, while male staff might use a more pragmatic, task oriented approach. And both men and women will generally more likely to touch the opposite sex than their own. In customer facing roles, this means touch strategy should be adapted for comfort and cultural appropriateness. For example, a restaurant server might use a light, respectful touch to convey friendliness, but adjust style and frequency based on the gender dynamic. So, if you're a man, you shouldn't um, just touch a woman without her consent and agreement. And for marketing and service implication for fashion and cosmetic and luxury good, you might want to create tactile rich display, fitting room and material samples to appeal to women with higher need for touch because your target audience would be mostly women. And for functional product, you may use tactile cues to demonstrate quality and performance for male audience, and the customer service training would be equip staff to recognize gender-based comfort levels with touch and adapt accordingly. So, move on to the touch symbolism. Touch art is one of the most profound and universal way humans communicate and express emotion. It transcends simple physical sensation, embedding itself in cultural tradition and emotional bonds and symbolic meanings. While some forms of touch convey warmth, love, and care, others may evoke discomfort, rejection, or even fear. In both personal and professional setting, the symbolism of touch play a vital role in shaping interaction, influencing perception and forming the emotional connection people build with each other and with the brands or services they encounter. So, about the emotional dimension, touch is often understood through two primary emotional dimension: warmth and cold. The warm touch, such as a big hug from a loved one or reassuring pat on the back or a firm but gently handshake, would signals care, empathy, and acceptance. It fosters trust, strengthens social bonds, and reassures individuals that they belong. And the cold touch, or the absence of touch to get altogether, can signal rejection, detachment, or discomfort, creating the emotional distance and sometimes even tension. And in service environment, this dimension translates directly into customer experience. A warm greeting, perhaps with a light touch on the shoulders, can generate comfort and trust, while interactions lacking warmth may lead to feelings of indifference and dissatisfaction. Cultural context deeply influence how touch is interpreted. In Western culture, again, a handshake is standard greeting symbolizing trust and equality. But in many Asian culture, however, less physical contact. So some culture embrace touch to express closeness, while others view it as intrusive. Right? In business context, trust can also signal hierarchy or familiarity. For example, a formal handshake versus an informal arm around the shoulders. Yeah. Um, so something you cannot do with your uh, people higher position than you, and something you can. Service providers operating globally must be aware of these differences to avoid cultural missteps and to tailor interactions that resonate with diverse audience. For brands, touch can be more than just gesture. It can be sensory element of the customer experience. Physical contact, texture, and tactile cues can communicate quality, comfort, and trustworthiness. Uh, High-end retailers, for instance, design tactile experiences through soft fabric, polished surface, or carefully selected product texture. These physical details will subtly shape brand perception, leaving customer with an impression of sophisticated and care. So the practical implication would be that actively use touch symbolism to embrace brand experience. For example, theme parks like Disney would train their staff to use friendly, non-intrusive touch and as well as voice, such as gentle pat or handshake or very light hug to create sense of warmth, joy, and personal connection. These interactions are small but powerful in making experience memorable. While touch can enrich customer interaction, it must always be approached with care. Unwanted or excessive touch can feel invasive and harm a whole brand's image. Cultural differences, personal boundaries, and context must all be respected. In sensitive industry like healthcare, where touch is necessary, um, cannot avoid unavoidable. Clear ethical guidelines and informed consent are crucial for the staff. Brands should always ensure that tactile interactions enhance comfort rather than cause discomfort, safeguarding trust and positive emotional connection. Move on to the service environment. Tactile stimuli play a significant role in shaping customer perception and experience in service environment, including bank, restaurant, store, um, convenience stores, supermarkets. These stimuli influence not only how products are evaluated, but also the overall experience of the space and the emotional responses of the customers. Unlike digital environment where tactile interaction is often limited, physical service environment provide opportunities for individuals to engage with the product directly, enhancing the customer experience. In a service environment, the sensory appeal of product and the overall atmosphere can significantly influence the customer emotion, behavior, and purchase decision. Factors such as texture, temperature contribute to create a sensory environment that is not only pleasant but also emotionally engaging. A comfortable and tactile stimulating environment encourage customer to touch, to feel, to engage with the product, which can lead to unplanned purchase and impulse buying. Um, in contrast, a digital environment would face the challenge of lack of tactile feedback, making it difficult for consumers to evaluate the physical attributes of the product. In the case of online shopping, customer often relies on images and descriptions, but they cannot physically interact with the product. This limitation emphasizes the importance of tactile experiences in certain product categories, especially those that require direct physical contact for evaluation, such as clothing and furniture. It's just inevitable. And the need of touch also plays a crucial role in how customers interact with products and brands. Tactile interaction would provide individual with essential sensory information. When retailers encourage customers to touch and feel the product, it leads to increased product evaluation, more touch point, and a positive attitude toward the brand. For instance, a simple signage in a store such as feel the freshness or trials can encourage customers to touch products, increasing the likelihood of purchase. Research has shown that even customers with low need for touch, who might not typically be motivated to touch product, are more likely to engage with a product when tactile cues like signage or present, suggesting that both visual and tactile stimuli can work together to encourage customers to touch more, ultimately buy. In a grocery store, the presence of signs prompting customers to feel the product has been shown to boost impulse buying behavior. This demonstrates that tactile engagement and would impact customer emotion and cognitive responses, especially in the retail setting where the ability to physically interact with product is an essential part of the decision making process. The tactile interaction between customer and product is further evidenced in fashion store where garments and textiles are the main product. The physical act of touching clothing is essential for customers to evaluate softness, texture, and comfort, which cannot be conveyed through digital platform. So on digital, the sensory feedback provided the physical stores is the key factor in reducing purchase hesitation. Research on online shopping behavior has shown that consumers with higher need for tactile input tend to avoid purchasing tactilely intensive product online. So products like clothing and fashion items, which are typically evaluated through touch, are less likely to be bought through online channel, especially when consumers are not cannot directly interact with the product before making the purchase. So you might want when you manage the online platform shop, you may want to take close picture of the material as much as possible. However, some companies have attempted to overcome this challenge by providing detailed product description and using 3D visualization for or virtual try-ons to stimulate the tactile experience online. While this solution offers some improvement, they still fall short for sensory richness that physical store provides. So if your customer is high NFT, then well, There's not many things you can really replace the physical store. Next, about being touched by others. Interpersonal contact is central to human interaction, shaping both behavior and emotional well-being. Touch helps from emotional bonds and social connections, fostering belonging, trust, and security. Especially in early life, it can reduce stress, anxiety, and fear, offering comfort and reinforcing relationship. In a service setting, the touch goes beyond personal relationship to influence customer behaviors, emotion, and brand perception. Even subtle gestures like a light arm touch or hands on the shoulder signal personal care, build trust, and strengthen loyalty. Customers often feel more valued, turning a simple transaction into an emotional experience that can shape future purchases. Research supports this effect. Hornick's study found that bookstore shoppers who were likely touched spent more time browsing, bought more, returned more often, recommend the store and felt more satisfied, especially female customers who show greater sensitivity. Similar findings appear in hospitality and retail. Touched restaurant often getting tip more, and supermarket shoppers touched during tasting rate product more favorably and buy more. And cultural norms also matters, like high contact features like the Arab, the Latin American would feel touched at warm and trust, while the low contact culture like the Scandinavian, the Japan might find it intrusive. Understanding these differences would help business adapt their approach. And if used thoughtfully, touch in service interaction or store environment can enhance customer experience, deepen the emotional connection, and build lasting impact, loyalty. Moving on to group preferences, so human beings as social creatures rely heavily on interpersonal contact or uh, for the emotional bonding, this communication and relationship building. And this need for physical contact is so vital that it is considered as important as the need for food and shelter, shaping how we interact with others throughout our lives. From our early childhood, interpersonal touch plays a critical role in emotional development. Studies have shown that children who experience affectionate touch from their parents or caregivers would have lower levels of anxiety and stress. This touch serves not only to provide comfort, but also foster a sense of security and belonging, reinforcing the vital role of touch in shaping healthy emotional development. Moreover, the act of being touched by other person tends to reinforce a positive perception of that individual. For example, a simple gesture such as light touch on the arm can elevate the perception of the person who's doing the touching. This nonverbal communication fosters feelings of empathy, trust, and commitment, making the recipient more likely to feel valued and connected to the person who offered the touch. This dynamic also explains why many social and professional relationships are built around such tactile exchange, from handshake to hug. And there are also gender differences. There are notable genders differences in how men and women respond to touch, which can shape consumers' behavior in service setting. Women have higher need for touch than men, especially when evaluate clothing. They tend to touch items more frequently and for longer, seeking both functional and emotional connection. And men is otherwise. In service, women may respond more positively to personalized touch from staff, like a light touch on the arm, friendly handshake, while men might find the same contact unnecessary or intrusive. This calls for gender sensitive approach to improve satisfaction. For example, in a spa, a shoulder touch from a therapist might enhance a female customer experience but have less effect on the male customer. A study tested the effect of handshake at store entry, and most customers found the handshake pleasant and welcoming, creating a warm atmosphere and strengthened a brand connection. However, women were more likely to view it negatively, possibly seeing it as overly assertive. Because there are staff who are men that is shaking hand with her, while men generally found it natural and agreeable. These findings highlight the importance of cultural and gender sensitivity when using touch in service strategy. And next is the touch in sales. Physical act for touch can serve as a powerful signal for ownership and commitment. So when customers are allowed to touch and feel a product, they tend to develop a stronger emotional attachment, which often leads to impulse purchase. This is especially true in the retail environment where sensory experiences like texture or fabric, the wave of an object, or the softness of a product would play a crucial role in making decisions. In grocery store of or supermarkets, tactile engagement have been shown to significantly influence spending habits. In one study, the feel the freshness sign placed next to the fresh products encourage the shoppers to physically touch and feel the product, leading to increased purchase on that product, even among those who weren't initially planning to buy it. The act of touching invoke the feeling of freshness, which improve the consumer perception to quality and increase the likelihood to buy. Move on to brand and product. Tactile stimuli features like hardness, texture, wave, shape, softness play a key role in shaping brand and identity and influencing customer perception. These physical attributes are not just functional, they help define how a brand is evaluated and chosen. For example, a laptop shape uh, and wave signal different qualities to different users. Like gamers may prefer a thick laptop, sturdy builds, while office worker may value a sleek and lightweight design of a laptop. The haptic system would allow customers to assess this quality directly, influencing decision making. So, to boost toilet paper sales, a case study in the UK removed packaging so customer could feel the texture. Sales and shelf space both rose significantly, proving how direct tactile interaction drive purchases. And we can see the tactile cues in print ad too. The L'Oreal skincare ad would use rough texture paper followed by smooth paper to symbolize wrinkle-free skin. It's an S. I cannot insert here, so you may watch this image as it's kind of the same. And the Lubriderm ran a campaign where readers peeled away the rough texture paper to reveal the smooth paper, illustrating product benefit. Lubriderm's sales would then rose 16% year over year, showing how tactile engagement and strengthened the brand connection. So, about the digital haptic integration, the brands like BMW, Royal Caribbean have added haptic feedback to ads, letting the viewers to feel element virtually. The test showed a 62% boost in emotional connection versus non-haptic ads, highlighting the potential of virtual touch in the digital marketing. From in-store product display to print ad and digital campaign, tactile stimuli create a tangible link between product and consumer, boosting engagement, loyalty, and perceived values. Move on to the haptic touch in product evaluation. So touch is one of the most powerful sense in product evaluation, to be honest, influencing both perception and purchase decision. When consumer can handle products, what they say and do tends to align, making tactile interaction a strong driver for engagement. Product like sweaters or tennis racket would provide rich tactile feedback, hold attention longer than low touch product like cereal, toothpaste, which are mainly touch visually. Studies comparing real sweater with virtual image show that physical touch reveals texture, wave, and quality attribute missing in the purely visual format. This tactile advantage would explain why physical goods often outperform virtual version in consumer preferences. And research divide products into high touch need, which is the touch is key for assessing the quality and comfort, or the moderate touch need, like the cushion, the rugs, the oranges you buy at the market. Touch would add value, but visual can kind of suffice it. And a low touch need would be like the electronics, glassware, the pen. Yeah, you can evaluate. It relies more on visual and functional cues. And about FMCG and touch, for everyday items like biscuits or soap, visual cues, packaging designs, and labeling often outweigh tactile feel. However, packaging texture can still evoke positive emotional responses and enhance brand perception, especially for premium product. Now moving on to vision. Vision often dominates vision and touch. Uh, vision often dominates, but in categories like fashion, touch become decisive. For instance, in the denim jean evaluation, consumer would judge quality through heat, softness, thickness, and weight, tactile factors that are shape their final choice. And haptic products like the apparel, the furniture, the paper goods benefit from environment where customers can handle items. In a German electronics store, placing a red Touch Me sign on a laptop would increase a customer approach by 50% and touch interaction by 75%. Adding an audio prompt further boosted engagement by 64%, showing how multisensory cues enhance product interaction. So the implication for service marketing is that it should enhance tangibility. Touch would bridge the gap between intangible promise and tangible proof. That is the provider gap number four. And sensory branding, which is combining visual, tactile, and auditory cues, strengthen brand impact. And the POP strategy, like small prompts like touch me or the audio in store can measurably increase engagement and sales. Moving on to touch symbolism in marketing, it refers to the meaning created through tactile experience, where the feel of an object or product forms an emotional or cognitive associations. In marketing, these experiences help build a brand identity and influence purchasing decision. For instance, weight often symbolizes durability and quality. Heavier items like furniture are associated with value and longevity, reinforcing the perception of premium quality. And product packaging is a key touch point. A shampoo bottle or for the smooth hair might feature a sleek, smooth surface to reflect its promise, aligning the tactile sensation with the product benefit. Such cues strengthen the brand messages and can persuade purchase by linking physical feel to desired outcome. And the haptic signature is a distinctive tactile element tied to a brand. Apple and Samsung would integrate haptic feedback into devices, making the feel of the touchscreen pad of the brand identity. So luxury car makers like Audi or BMW or Rolls Royce would have unique tactile sensations from steering wheel's texture to button clicks, embedding a brand recognition into the driving experience. The iconic example is the Coca-Cola Contour bottle. Yeah, the famous bottle, that design. The distinctive curves and cold smoothness of Coca-Cola Contour bottle have become sensory markers for the brand. It's cool, it's curvy, it's reintroduction boosted sales by 12% and showing how tactile attributes can drive recall and emotional connection. And brand can deepen consumer ties by encouraging hands-on trial. Sephora beauty tutorial let customer feel textures and application effect firsthand, creating memorable, personalized experience that enhance loyalty. And haptic technology adds tactile feedback to enhance engagement. The Apple Watch Taptic Engine, would discreetly delivers notifications via the wrist vibrator. Gaming controllers like the PS5 ones use forced feedback to stimulate in-game event, making experience more immersive and emotionally engaging. And in advertising campaigns increasingly use haptic feedback to stand out. Showtime's Homeland trailer, the film sync device vibration with on-screen explosions, while Huggy waistband let expectant fathers feel the baby's movement, creating deep emotional resonance to the TA. And the future trend is that digital signage is moving toward interactive, multisensory experience. So haptic enabled screens could let shoppers feel fabric before buying, combining touch with visual and audio cues for a holistic brand experience and customers stronger engagement and loyalty. And that is the end of our presentation. This is the chapter summary summarizing what we have covered in the lesson. And let's wrap up with a case study of the Apple Store. So, the Apple has consistently been recognized as one of the most influential global companies. Um, a major component of Apple brand identity and experience is its Apple Store, as Tim Cook Apple CEO stated, "The Apple Store are the face of Apple for almost all of our customers. People don't think about the Cupertino headquarters, they think about the local Apple stores. This unique retail experience play a critical role in solidifying Apple position as the market leader. So the Apple Store concept is unlike traditional electronic retailers. Instead of standard product display, Apple create an immersive sensory environment designed to engage touch, vision, and emotion. With open, uncluttered space, sleek glass and steel structure, and a futuristic aesthetic, the store project innovation and simplicity core to Apple brand identity. A defining feature is the freedom to touch and explore product. Unlike many electronic stores where touching is discouraged, Apple invites customers to interact with every item. For example, the iMac screens are angled at about 70 degrees, visibly yet inviting adjustment, encouraging direct engagement. This tactile interaction helps customers to evaluate and connect with the product. So, this philosophy extends to services like the Genius Bar, where personalized hands on assistance deepen emotional bonds with the brand. So, in Apple Store, touch is not just a feature, it's a strategic driver for customer satisfaction, brand identity, and for sale. And that is the very end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.